Okay, are we on? Yeah, we are. Is this on? Yeah, we're on. All right. What is going on, guys? So we had to run this button back a few times because this was an important topic. We were talking about friends and integrity and who we should be as friends and the role we play as friends. And we're kind of jumping. Of course, immediately I get a notification. We're kind of jumping straight into it because I want to kind of make it short and sweet, and it kind of dives into the realm of like coaching and stuff like that. And obviously, if you guys don't already know, all that stuff is linked into the bio in terms of affiliate programs, coaching, one-on-one, more access to me, etc., etc. And then all the codes and stuff like that for Raw and Reviver down there as well. But I just kind of want to touch base on what it's really like to be a friend. And it's a weird topic because the way I'm kind of approaching the one-on-one clients and the aspect of everything is becoming a friend first. And why this is really important to me is because even the past few chapters or like pages of my life, metaphorically speaking, have just been in that realm of like the role we have as like who we should be, how we should treat others, etc., etc. And I don't know if we're playing the cards right. So immediately, because I want to set the pace very early, I wrote down something. And what I'm starting to do with these smaller podcasts is write down, and again, Greg's fiance, soon to be wife, kind of gave me this idea, just kind of label a few of them, and then knock them out. That way I have like some structure, at least in the solo podcast. When I'm with the boys, I don't really care. We're just shooting the shits. But in terms of these podcasts, I started to gain some structure. So I am listening to you guys. And thank you, Kristen. I know she's a big supporter of this stuff. So I wrote down to set the pace. So just kind of like behind the scenes and like what I'm trying to set the pace and like set the tone for this message and for my life moving forward. So try to like put yourself into my mind. So the guys I looked up to growing up were quiet sufferers. So naturally I chased that. But on the same coin, these were individuals who were transparent with everything. That's why now I'm able to align paths with them one way or another of some sort. It's getting a little hard because the gap is slowly but surely increasing where my patience is wearing thin on a day-to-day basis with human interaction. I remember when times when we were younger and every single person on our block knew me and my younger brother because we would literally knock on doors and ask your kids to come out and play soccer in the street or manhunt. Fast forward to now, it's hard to not find myself underwater, metaphorically speaking, in this world of all the selling out to want to be an influencer and all that aspects. I found myself running from it. It was destroying me. I felt soulless. I was dissipating. Now I found some real ones like Alpha Elite and Raw Nutrition where you hear these leaders say we care more about building you guys than building with the company. So you can replay that message a couple times because I've had that saved. So this is the third time running this podcast back because I just kept like just this role. Like I said, I'm gonna keep saying that the role of being a friend is so important, and we don't understand that because it literally molds us from a young age. But me having that growing up and having the patience and doing this and doing that to just really go out there and I mean, it was quite literally networking, right? But you're not like I'm networking as a kid, right? But that's just quite literally and generally the terminology behind it. It's expanding your interest, finding other people, aligning yourselves with them, et cetera, and then fast forward to now, right? Because the metaphor behind that statement growing up is, I just clipped the mic. I'm an all-in type of guy. For most of you that do know me, I am just fully submitted into what I want to do. Whether you guys are seeing it firsthand through fitness, on the car things, it's more of like on a private level. But for most of you who know me even before fitness, I'm very, very induced into the car community. Whether it's been detailing or buying and flipping or just having super cool cars or super cool friends with cars. Just holding that integrity really high across like all the pillars of life in terms of like where I wanted hobbies to go, enthusiasts and like careers, and like I found myself like just being a headhunter in that aspect in terms of like just really, like now I'm lining up with Chris and Dom, and like I'm so grateful, and like the work ethic that I'm putting in, because a lot of the times when I talk about myself, I'm not really talking about myself. I'm talking about the work that I've put in. So when I come across as blunt and like very just authoritative and ready, I'm really just like stuck in my ways, but you guys just have to understand that I really just don't want to waste time. I have like a lot of respect for the people who are investing in me and doing this and doing that. So now on the flip side, now that I started coaching and stuff like that, like even just recently, Paulo, I took through what I'm calling a vetting process, and only now am I comfortable to offer him an opportunity to work with me. So the way now moving forward, how I'm traditionally doing it, and then again, this wasn't an idea. This is just I'm learning as I go along. Is I started to introduce that vetting process, and what I basically mean by vetting them is like you can text me a couple days throughout the week and be like, hey, I went to the gym, or I want to work with you and this and that, because like the motivation and all that's great. Like I can talk your ear off. I can make people run through walls. That's like my biggest thing, because I can tell you like exactly what you want to hear to get you going and this and that. And that's like, for me to offer that to people, like I want to make sure I'm offering it to the right people, because I don't want to waste my time. I don't want the consumer to waste their time. I don't want people, so like fast forward to now, and I'm sure Paulo would be on board if he even listens to the podcast, but I took him through a vetting process, and now we're 2.5 weeks, 3 weeks in. I just made him an offer to like work with me in terms of like, this is the plan, XYZ. But like on the contrary now, Paulo for 3 weeks was, I'm going to the gym, texting me meal plans, what he was getting, how much he was getting, work schedule, eating schedule, personal problems, how we can overcome them, what the goals are, what I want to do moving forward, life aspirations, goal setting, where we are moving forward, like all of that. I didn't ask him that. I just quite literally reached out and I was like, can I help you? Like, how can I help you? And I asked him one important question, and he will attest this. I asked him one question. I was like, why me? Why did you reach out to me? And he was just, and in quite simple terms, not to mitigate the entire, he was just like, you gave a fuck. You cared. And I've been preaching that since the longest time, that no one cares how much you know, so they know how much you care. The equipment is equipment. The science is the science. The program is the program. Like that, the gym stuff is easy. Like I love that we can get the body right, but let's get the mind right. Because now it's gone to a point where like, now the team and the leaders that I'm building and that I'm fortunate to like harness and be a part of on a much larger scale, I love that I can now give business somewhere else, or do this or do that, or like even with Randy, right? Detailing, you can go there. Personal training, you can come here. Paulo owns a kick-ass pizzeria, you can go there for food. You know what I mean? Like I can now generate incomes for my friends. And as soon as I started helping other people make money, I never had to worry about money. As soon as I took my eyes off myself, I never had to worry about anything. And a lot of you are going to find that hard to believe, but I'm telling you, that same old saying of I want more to give more is bullshit. You got to give when you have less. 10% of everything. 10% of everything. Doesn't matter if you're making $500 a week. 10% of that. One way or another. Not saying charity or this or that. Find a way, whether it's time, material, anything. Find a way to give back. Because it's always when I make it, I'll give back. But you're not going to make it because you don't understand the rules of life. And as soon as I understood that one thing, just broadly and generally, I saw it in all things. Once I understood it broadly, I saw it in all things. With fitness, with cars, with anything. Privately message me an example of how that statement of what I just said makes sense, and I'll put it in and I'll put it in everything. It's just we live in a world that's just very me. We don't take our eyes off ourselves. We don't do this. We don't do that. And it's like the common subject nowadays is like hate. I can load up Instagram right now. Go to an explore page. Go on a post of something. And content's tricky. Content is in the eye of the beholder. Don't get me wrong. There's a lot of shit on it that I don't like. But I'll never I really won't unless I really see a problem in terms of like maybe people getting guided misdirectly and this and that. Because the problem with social media is if the problem is growing up, the I feel the saying was if seeing was believing, what defines the truth? Because everybody's putting up everything now. So the problem was seeing was believing growing up. When people pulled up with the cars and the physique and the titles and the this and the that. But now it's like I can take said's title, take a picture of it, or trophy, take a picture of it, take a picture next to somebody's car, do this, do that. There's no credit given, and it's like you don't now. I don't know what defines the truth anymore. I mean, Wi-Fi's free, and the metaphor and the analogy behind that is the whole freedom of speech stuff is yeah, you can say what you want to say, but like, is there any validity to what you're saying? Are you actually like? You can't talk about making moves when you're just doing. And again, take this with a grain of salt because there's nothing wrong with jobs, but like everybody I grew up with, all of a sudden when social media came out, was an entrepreneur, a fitness, a doctor, a lawyer, a jack of all trades, just because you can come online and type a caption on your, there has to be some validity to what you're doing. You can't be talking about Lambo advice and you're driving like Camrys. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just in a very black and white situation, you just can't do that. You're not going to take advice, especially nowadays, from your local gym's personal trainer when they're out of shape, but they just have the degree and the credentials to say, I know how to train. You have to apply what you learn. I mean, I would hope at one point in time, like, your coach and stuff like that either looked extremely fantastic, because don't get me wrong, like, right, Arnold, Dorian, whoever, Tom Platz, these guys are all retired, but like, they know their shit. They've been on stages for years and years. But those are the guys that go back and they be like, hey, I did learn this, I did learn that. But like, now you look at people like our age and they're like out of shape. It looks like they don't even work out, but they have the job as a trainer. And it's like there's a disconnect. But going back to the whole social media thing is you can go online and before I went off on that tangent and see something you don't like, and the first few comments are just like hate. And I don't know if hate is like, again, it's a double-edged sword because some people just do ask for it. So I don't know if there's really a right or wrong in that situation, but for the analogy of the example is you'll rarely see more support. You'll see more hate than you will support. You'll never see anybody like, good job, I'm proud of you, like, keep it going, like, holy shit, until like an accomplishment comes around, right? Because it happens all the time, and I say it all the time. Because even when I get my car back, I tell people, if this is the energy you're giving me now, when shit hits and like I'm taking over with the team, if it's not the same energy, I'm gonna put you on blast. Because like, if you're not supporting in the trenches, and it happens all the time, then like, and then you get the highlight reel. Like, it happened when I won Summer Shredding. We won the show, and people I've never even, like, they follow me, and that's great. And maybe just like social interactions, but like people I've never seen before. I knew you were always going to make it. I knew it's the same old story and dance. I knew you were going to make it. That's like the one post they've liked in like 14 years that I've been, like, I mean, to exaggerate, but you guys know that thing. It happens across the board. Happens across the board. And sorry, I just keep getting distracted, but because it's late and I'm trying to stage some stuff, but then I really sat back and I looked at this position that we have as friends, the roles that we have, like the positions. It's a mind boggle, because I just, so being a friend. Being a friend is not about turning your back on somebody or something when they do something. It's not about turning your back on somebody when they do something that's so fucking like deplorable and disgusting, and it's not for you to turn your back on them. It's for you to be sure and be there that they never do it again. Your job as a friend is to make sure, in the midst of them doing something so deplorable, you're there to make sure they never do it again. Because the problem with everything going on now is like, and in my personal life, is everybody wants to dig through closets of like mistakes, and then we're afraid. First of all, I don't take advice from anybody that doesn't look in the mirror every fucking morning, because the problem is we all have shit, we all have issues. I'm no fucking saint, and I don't care. I all of my problems are socially known. I try to nip myself in the butt by not saying names on social media, but because I'm on social media, that's like everybody knows me. Everybody in the town knows me, everybody, and that's fine. That's a downside, I guess, if you will, depending on how you look at it, that it's taking a toll now on me. And again, downside depending on how you look at it, because no publicity, bad publicity is not, what's the saying? Oh, bad publicity is still publicity, right? That's the same old saying on social media. But that's not to say it doesn't affect my mental. That's not to say it doesn't get to me mentally. It's just the aspect of it all is, if I can, Joe Schmo, like if I can go in Joe's closet and like pull out and be like, Joe, you did this, and a couple months ago, and it's like I don't know now, right? On the flip side of things, the role we have as being his friends is, I'm gonna sit you down and talk to you, and then like if it's the same problem we're having over and over again, then like maybe something needs to change, right? Because you can always love people from a distance, but it's not to hate on people. That's the thing. Like you can always like just condolences and go to the other side of the street and just walk your ways. But it's just like I just hold no hate and no animosity towards anybody, even people that have done me so wrong, and I hope even the people that I've done wrong, I just hope there's no time for, like, you made mistakes and you move on. Like life's way too short to just really hold all that negative energy back. I mean, or like hold it in and like let it just take over just future decisions and becoming sour, and there's no room for that. And it's growing pains. Everybody's gonna acknowledge it at one time and point in their life, and my hope is, if you're listening to this, maybe just listen to yourself a little sooner and let that stuff go. Not saying maybe like get back together with said party or friend, but just let it go. It's really just, it's not doing anybody a service. But it's just really like, if you are gonna give me advice and you're refusing to look at the demons that you've created and XYZ and paths you've crossed, that you didn't make the right decision, and if you don't know that that's like, it's like hidden in your life. Now if I go dig it up and do that, like I would never do that. Like I've had my entire family turn their back on me, and I would still to this day never do that to them. I would never do it to them, whether it was between my choices as an individual, career choices, personal choices, emotional choices. It's just I wasn't the kid that got it right growing up. I'm the kid that fucked it all up. And I've said that multiple times on multiple occasions, and God willing, I probably still will. But like, it's gotten to the point where, like, even going back to what I said, it's hard to find myself not underwater, because like I am separating the gap, and on a level of vulnerability, it's just like I'm setting the bar so high that like my reach is a little out of hand, because it's just like my integrity, my character, not mine personally, what I look for in people is just so high, and they're out there, but the problem is they're so beaten down. Paulo, Greg, Ryan, Ray, Lewis, Allie, just everybody, like all of like just recent clients that I've gained in the past month. Like they're there, but they're so beaten the fuck down by the world's way. And like now it's my job, and I say this proudly and with my chest out and my chin down, that I get to now revive and bring these people back to life, because these are heavy hitters. I know these are the people that I was talking to growing up, that just, I'll never admit to them, but this is my public admission to it. I needed that growing up. Andy, I needed that growing up. Mike, Will, I needed that growing up. I needed to have solid ass friends that were going to keep me in check. And I guarantee you, we may be acquaintances in real life, but for you to really know me, I keep you in order, and you keep me in order. It's not like a dictatorship, but like we keep each other in order. We hold the standard really high. I take more shit from my friends, and I give myself more shit more than anybody can give me. And I'm not saying that in a corrosive, morbid manner. It's just like we're really addicted to progress. And as however slow it may be, like we're really just, we don't put up with that shit. And again, I mean that in the most positive way possible. I don't know if you guys are gonna understand that or feel it, but it's just we really, hey Johnny, you're not doing. And again, I'm the clown, not the clown, but I'm the what do they call it? The fucking hamster in the group. I'm the one that's like doing it all, and I'm learning like a sponge. I'm learning like a fucking sponge. I'm fucking up for sure. For sure. Ask anybody. I really am out there just fucking it up. But that's why I have at this point in my life at such a young age, it's like I'm blessed to say like I have a lot, and like I'm trying to just share that and give that out. It's like, because my problem was the way that I speak to myself, which is just quite literally go back to any podcast. The way that I speak to myself is the way I spoke to my friends. Again, we're going to say friends right now because I lost a lot of them. But the real ones are still around. But I lost a lot of them. So I don't know if that was a bad or good thing. But I did lose a lot of them because of just the way, whether it be authority, conviction, my words, just whatever. Just the way I spoke. But the problem is the way I spoke to myself. If and when I messed up was, of course you did. You fucking idiot. You messed up. How could you? Right? And really just beat myself. And I don't regret it, but I because it was hard and mentally it took a toll on me. And this emotionalist person is now formed. But the problem is like the problem is now is just like when you speak to yourself, like now in life, quite literally right now, when I speak to myself, it's nourished, and I speak to myself every day. I speak to myself even when I'm talking to the camera. A lot of the times, even when I put up captions or podcasts or this or that, it's just stuff I need to hear. But now it's like words of nourishment, of integrity. It's just because like you reap, just like you're snared by the words off of your tongue, and like I don't know if people understand that, but I'm trying to become the friend that I need. I'm gonna re-say that. I'm trying to become the friend that I need. So meaning how I'm acting now is who I want there supporting me. I'm not talking about like another replicated version of me, but the way I see things, the way I'm approaching things very efficiently, like with integrity and just like from all corners, like was it really good? Was it a good move? Was it a bad move? Just like the trajectory at which I'm seeing things now, like that. That's what I'm trying to instill and like find in people. Paulo Lewis, Ray, Ali, Anthony, like great additions to the team. These are like people that like I can see them learning from me. I'm learning from them because, like I said, I'm like whatever you want to call it, coaching, mentorship, whatever it is like that. That's really what it's all about. Just really just getting out there and just getting uncomfortable. It's really, I just don't. It's the reason why like we're just, and again, the very first thing I said, we're quiet sufferers, like in that line, that what I wrote down to like start the podcast off is because like people just didn't express themselves. They didn't, and for starters, don't mistake in my soft words, and like kind of vulnerable moments as in like I'm a weak-hearted person, because I don't give two fucks about what anybody, if it's anything negative, what anybody has to say or this or that. Like I have no aspirations. This is not like, just please don't cross me when it comes to that stuff, because I have a lot of patience, but like I also have a lot of pull. So like when it comes to that stuff, like a lot of people leave empty threats and stuff like that when it comes to you don't want to, so like at the end of the day, it's just like don't mistake in my soft spoken words as in like I won't put you in your place, because like if I care enough to put you in your place, you probably just don't have to be put in your place, because you just realize that we have to be docile, kind, and mild with people who deserve it. For people who are out there like the Twitter warriors or the keyboard warriors, whatever you want to call them, that are just they're just unhappy. It's just a self-reflection. It really is. If you really have time to go on the internet and hate and do this and do that, I'm not saying like don't argue and shit like that, because like I said, but like at the end of the day, like if you're gonna go on that post and say what you got to say, as much as it annoys you, do you want to just give more time to it in terms of like how it annoys you, or do you want to like, because that was my turning point with social media. I'm like fuck these algorithms, do that, like do that, but I was just like okay, like, and going back to when I went on that live with Scott and his friend, I think he was from Uphill, but whatever it was, I have to play by the rules of social media. So that means I have to kind of do the corny shit. But at the same time, that's not going to suppress me to say what I can and cannot say. Yes, I got to play by the rules. Yes, I got to play by YouTube's rules. Yes, I got to play by Instagram's rule. But how now I can be honest and get the good word out, that's where I have to learn as a creator, as a person, to make sure I'm spreading a positive message while getting in front of the eyes that maybe that people don't follow me. Because I can't just go on and say this and that, because even for the podcast, like this probably isn't reaching people that don't really like know me, unless you guys are sharing it. And for those of you that are, you already know my respect is to the highest extent when it comes to that stuff, because I'm a very small person trying to make it in this big ass flooded world of wannabes. But it's just, that's the essence of all of that. I just don't want to, I don't want it to be like, it's just, it's, and I kind of want to wrap it up here because I'm actually running out of footage on the camera too. But I just want to keep it short and sweet, because I feel like maybe the solo ones, without me rambling too much, with more construction and stuff like that, I can be more efficient. So if you're find yourself in a situation with a significant other or with a friend or XYZ, and you find yourself like, just draw it out, get a list out, pros and cons. We do it all the time. We helped a friend this past weekend just kind of get over that stuff. Just really just label things out, call bullshit when you see it. And I'm not saying just like as bluntly as it sounds, but just like solutions. The only problem, like, you're allowed to complain as long as it amounts to a solution. Because if you're complaining just to complain and nothing's changing, then you're going to stay complaining. But if you're complaining because shit happens, it happens all the time, complain about it, cry about it if you have to, fight about it if you have to, but solve it. Solution. I don't really like closure, but closure. So just, those are my 2 cents when it comes to it moving forward. And I don't want to go too far over. So that's my spiel. That's quick. If you like it, like it. It's just something that was on my heart. Something we need to do better at in terms of being friends and holding each other accountable. So that's where we're going to leave it there. Just quick, sweet, some nuggets, some golden nuggets, and we wrap it up there. So be sure, if you like it, drop a like, comment if you want to see things differently, or just DM me like you guys have been, and we'll catch you guys in the next one.